Hello, and thank you for stopping by to yet another edition of the Massachusetts Whiskey Reviews program here on YouTube. My name is Thomas Mennel 75, and this is your Massachusetts Whiskey Reviews. And have you ever heard of high malt bourbon or Tennessee high malt bourbon to be exact? Well, today we are looking at the Chattanoga Whiskey Cask 111, made in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And this is not a new brand. However, I do believe within the last year, Massachusetts and possibly most of New England has finally gotten distribution of Chattanooga whiskey. So this is Chattanooga whiskey, straight bourbon whiskey, 111 proof. They call it a Tennessee high malt. And the bottling says Cask 111 is the unfiltered single batch expression of our Tennessee high malt recipe, our rich malt forward approach to bourbon. Are comprised of at least 25% specialty malted grains. Each 6 to 10 barrel lot has been hand selected to highlight the subtle batch to batch variation of this distinctly cask forward bourbon. We hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Real nice information on the side of the bottle. Very transparent for the most part. Distilled, aged, and bottled by Chattanoga Whiskey in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Mash bill is yellow corn, malted rye, caramel malted barley, and honey malted barley. And the fermentation was temperated for 7 days. And the cooperage was done in 53-gallon toasted and charred oak barrels. Filtration none. Bottle occasionally captures barrel sediment. And here's the kicker. Right after this being known as a high malt, the real kicker is aged greater than 2 years. Interesting. And batch size 6 to 10 barrels. So we have no more information about how old, but at least 2 years. Interesting stuff. All right, let's put it in the glass, see what this Chattanooga Cask 111 Tennessee High Malt is all about. And if you're curious, hey, Thomas Metal 75, what is this higher malt content going to do to your bourbon? And from what I understand, it should provide a sweeter and earthier component to your whiskey. Let's try it. Ooh, this is a tight cork. Not a lot of pop. And I think it's synthetic. Nice looking cork, though. And it says Chattanooga Whiskey. I do believe this was about the $42.99 range at the store I acquired it from. On clean glass. All right. Let us assess this Chattanooga Cask 111 straight bourbon whiskey, Tennessee high malt. Nice legs already forming on the sides of the glass. Slow to form for sure. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but they are slow to form. Looks and aesthetics. I love how it's embossed. The bottling with made in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And this bottling is all of their own design. I don't know another brand that's got a bottle quite like that. I do love the transparency right there on the side of the bottle. And the coloration on this whiskey is super nice for not a lot of age. It's got a dark amber color for sure. Nice looking dram. I think it deserves a 9 out of 10. Bottling is saving the day with information. Aromas on your Chattanooga Whiskey Cask 111 Tennessee High Malt. Definitely got some earth and some shoe leather. Definitely a spicy, peppery component to this one as well. I'm getting some caramels and vanillas and toffees. I'm definitely getting some barrel char for sure. I just got a cherry note in there. Almost a cherry cola type of a note. Not quite. So far, so good. Definitely a minty or herbal kind of a note, too, in there. And a brown bready note. Maybe some dark figs or maybe more of a darker chocolate note. Let's give her a taste, shall we? The Chattanoga Straight Bourbon Whiskey 111. Tennessee High Malt. Salute. Oh, wow. Very earthy. Pretty dry for the most part. There's a nuttiness in there. It's a little bit of heat. There's a nuttiness in there. There's a cherry note in there. There's a dusty note in there. Definitely an herbal, rye, spice, or minty kind of a note in there. They are using the malted rye. I can definitely tell that's in there. There's a nice toasty brown bready note in there. There's a little bit of a honeyed note in there too. Some brighter fruits. Yeah, like orchard fruits. But then again, I still think that there's some leathery notes. Maybe that's the char, the barrel char in there, working its magic. It's really nice. You wouldn't suspect a young whiskey out of this taste at all. There are some caramels and cinnamon notes in there. Oh, there's definitely a cinnamon note in there. And there's definitely, yeah, a baking spice and a general spicy element as well to this. Maybe a touch of pine mixed in with all those sweeter fruit notes. It's very interesting. It's very prickly on the tongue, if that makes any sense. It feels lively and spritzy on the tongue. I'm not sure how else to describe it other than effervescent. There is some baking spice and peppery notes on the finish. And then you're left with some char. Some of that barrel char. There's definitely a honeyed-like note that's really nice. There's a lot going on in that bourbon for $42.99. I'm telling you. It doesn't taste super young either. The mouthfeel, though, I don't know if it's super creamy, but there's a viscous element to that. It's a little, at the very end of the sip, it's a little on the drier tannic side. Yeah, I would say mouthfeel is a medium plus. Definitely the 111 proof is doing its thing there. So very earthy notes, I would definitely say overall. There's a leather-bound book note kind of a note. And that dusty note. I don't know if it's necessarily crafty, but there's definitely that dusty note. And I don't know if it's just this malted rye that's in here, but I'm getting all kinds of those herbal, almost, I want to say, no, minty, that's it. Herbal and kind of mintier notes out of this one with the caramel and the baking spice notes. But I definitely think spice, minty, leather-bound books, dusty is the star of the show here with a nice viscosity to it. So on the aroma, let's go over those scores for the tasting notes. The aroma is so much sweeter than maybe it lends on in the taste. I love that aroma. That is great. The aroma is super sweet and caramel and honey and toasty. It's super toasty caramel. I like that. Do I want to give that a 19? No, I'll give that an 18. That's a great aroma. Let's go back to the taste one more time. And that's where the earthy and that leather-bound book dusty note kind of comes back into play. Not as sweet, but there is sweetness. There's a nice, now I'm getting a nice cherry in the finish. It's really nice, though. For 2 years, you wouldn't think that it's that young. Or at least 2 years. Okay, I lied. Another sip. There's definitely a kick of heat in the background. It's definitely a spicier kick in the back of the palate. So, for that spicy kick, that's not necessarily super fun, 17 out of 20. And there was a dried, orangey, fruity note there. Or just a dried citrus at one point there. Interesting stuff. I do think it might taste better than 17, but that spice or proof kick in the background is not super the best, but great flavors. Mouthfeel, which I think is what this malt is happily trying to provide. There's creamy notes. You can see that I'm chewing a little bit, or a lot of it. That's a solid 18. Not the most viscous, oily product known to mankind, but oh my god, is that nice at 111 proof. And finish. Finish got that spice element. And that minty herbal, almost bubble gummy in a way. And it's really a long journey on that finish, honestly, for what it is. And I'm getting that rye spice and the bubble gum, and maybe some dried citrusy fruits. It's interesting. Not my favorite finishing flavors, but the finish is not going off a cliff. Let's go with 17. And let's just call that a 9 out of 10. Please, ladies and gentlemen, for the value. Under $45 for a bourbon that is providing all of that with like zero age, basically. Holy crap, this is nice and interesting. All right. So we're going to give a 9 out of 10 for looks and aesthetics. We're going to give an 18 for the aroma, 17 for the taste, 18 for the mouthfeel, 17 for the finish, and a 9 out of 10 for the value to give us an eye color me shocked here, people. We have just given Chattanoga whiskey, Cask 111, straight bourbon whiskey, a Tennessee high malt, an 88 out of 100. For $42.99, hell's friggin' yeah. This is cool whiskey. Not for everybody, I'm going to have to say. The least favorite aspect I found in the whiskey was that peppery, or was it alcohol? Something along those lines, kind of a note in the back of the throat piece. That wasn't so stellar to me, but this is cool. Oh, they do have honey malted barley, so yeah, honey notes. Good on you, Thomas. Maybe there is some cereal grain and granola in there too. Yeah, 88. This is delicious. Just watch out for the burn a little bit. Only in the background. So, have you had this Chattanoga whiskey? Have you had any of this Cask 111? Have you had any of these Chattanoogas? What say you, people? But until next time, keep tasting those great whiskeys. Cheers. I will see you soon.